Welcome to Live at 5, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. I'm smiling because what a month. Gosh. For many of you, firstly, I have to say thank you for all your kind words and support you've given me over these last 3 weeks. As many of you know, on the 4th, which will be 3 weeks tomorrow, I think, I fell and fractured my head, or rather skull, which was something I wished I hadn't done after I did it, but hey, you do these things. Good news is I'm still here, trying to be positive. Thinking is a challenge, or it has been over the last 3 weeks. Focusing has been a greater challenge, but 3 weeks on, I've got another 5 weeks, I think, before I can run around and climb trees. Not that I've ever done that for a while. And I just need to be careful of not banging my head again. You think that would have been easy, wouldn't you? Never mind. It's not as easy as it sounds. Anyway, objectives. So here's our image. What I want to do today is to finish it off. So really there's only 2 main objectives I want to focus on. First is the highlights. I'm going to make them shine where I need to. And the darks, I need to put a bit of ooey in there. Bit of power, bit of emphasis on the dark areas. It's pretty much there. I mean, really, we could walk away from it now without too much worry, but I would like to just put some highlights in here and a bit of darks where they're needed. So we're not going to be, it's not a big challenge, this one. This is a particularly easy seascape. It doesn't have a cloud. So it's a misty morning or evening. It's misty. And so we don't really have a horizon line. We have a hint at where the horizon is, and we can emphasize this through waves in the distance, which have got no detail at all. The only detail bits are going to be these waves here and the foamy bits coming up and a bit of maybe some pebbles in the sand, and that's about it. So we're going to keep this really straightforward and quite simple. Firstly, I'm going to start with just lifting some of these highlights. Now, they're not going to be the lights, they're just going to be the higher lights, okay? So slightly, not as light as we can go. Now, if you see what I call highlights are these are highlights. From here, this is just light. Now I'm going to try this and see how we go. So just got a bit of paint on there. And I'm just going to offer this up just to see what it looks like. So, yeah, that's kind of where I wanted it to go. It's kind of what I was looking for. It's just a small hint of something. I'm just going to scoodle across on here. Let's make sure my arm isn't in the way. Now, or even head. Now, you can probably notice that I'm just, I was going to say tickle, but must enlarge my vocabulary, but it's really just kind of putting a few marks in at this point. Now, with that in mind, and when I look through here, I can see my computer screen. So it's a bit like me stepping back and seeing the image from afar. It's virtually filling the entire computer screen. I'm going to the slightly lighter one now. Now, all these colours are pre-mixed by me. Fundamentally, we've got indigo, and then we've got indigo and titanium white coming up here, and then we're starting to add some Naples yellow into these lighter ones to shift it across into the warm area. So cool will be the darks, warm will be the highlights. just want to just see what this looks like. The effect I'm looking for is where the distant waves almost are the same colour as the background of the highlight. Sorry, the sky colour. I do smile. It's like I'm reaching for words and they're a bit slippery. They move every time I get near one of them. So, if I say something that it's not quite right, oh, you know what's happening. I've got slippery word syndrome. We'll get there. It almost makes it a bit like a comedy sketch, or it does in my head anyway, so I must apologise if it's not funny, but I'm trying to get through this. I think the worst thing is still the thought that I can't actually drink. Not that I'm a drinker. I mean, I'm not. I enjoy a glass of wine, those of you who know me. But it is a glass here or there. I think I was a teenager the last time I had a few glasses too many. And that sure is a long time ago. But, I do, it's got to be another, I think my wife said 5 weeks before I'm allowed even a slight sniff of the grape juice, which I love so much. Well, don't love it that much, but it's nice. So I'm going to have a few weeks where I'm going to be kind of, I'm going to be counting the days. I can see it now. So I've gone up a bit light, now I'm going to come down a little bit. And all I want to do is it's like, I'm going to use the word complicate. I'm not looking at detail in this, so I'm just complicating the blank, or the blank? We'll call it blank, the blank colour, or the mass. Just want to complicate that out a little bit here and there. And that's all. I'm trying to keep it level, which when I'm over the side and I'm not quite sure where up is, that's a bit of a challenge, but we'll get there. I might have to trim the bottom off to make it level. Oh dear, It's really, I look back on what happened 3 weeks ago and I have no idea what happened. It's like I went to bed and then I woke up on the floor of a tiled bathroom. I didn't wake up, I came to feeling extremely unpleasant, but still, there you go, the joys. But to not know how you do it, I mean, I'd like to know how it happened, but hey, there comes a point in time in life, for those of you who are nearing the point of life where I am nearing, 70 this year, a few months' time. How sad is that? But anyway, things happen which you kind of feel, that's a bit strange. They just do. And I think I'm there with that one. Things happen and I'm going, yeah, not quite sure why that happened. Like falling over, or at least looking up at the ceiling, wondering where that came from. Anyway, I'm going to zone out now and start painting. Okay. Gosh, I've got to laugh. Okay. So I'm almost done with this bit. I can see in the main screen on the computer that I'm pretty much on there. I'm going to go to the next. Actually, I'm going to change brush. I'm going to keep that a kind of light-ish. Well, now it's a medium-ish brush. I'm going to go for a bit dark. Now these brushes are number 2 Rosemary & Co. and they're extra long flats, chisels even. And they're ideal for this. Yes, you can load the brush up so it holds a lot of paint, but I really don't want to hold a lot of paint. I want it to be not too much, just the right amount. The nearer I am getting, the darker these vertical waves are getting. So if you imagine a wave is a bit like this, that's flat. Now that's the trough. That's what it's called. And it comes up like this, and that's the height of the wave. That's if it's at high at sea, then you really should be on land. Most waves at sea are about here. Let's get this on the camera, about here. So you've got the trough going up to the wave, it breaks over and goes down the other side. The dark water is at the top. The light water normally is at the bottom, not always, normally, it depends on the sky. Because where you have a flat, and you can see that, where it's flat, it's a reflection of the sky. This is looking into deeper water, so it's darker. Now, if it does crash right over like this, you're looking at a very thin bit of water here, which means you're probably looking through it at the sky. So the sky colour comes into play again. Now I'm going to go just a little bit darker in here. I don't want to go too dark. And also don't want to go too stripy. I don't want to go stripe, 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 stripe all the way down. That would be a tad, stripy, really. Bit of dark underneath here. There you go. So it's important I don't go too dark. If I go too dark underneath this wave here, it's going to bring it too far forward. And I want to keep its distance just where it is. If I'd had maybe a spare canvas out, what I will do is in future I'll make sure I can have a little spare canvas and I can show you what these things look like. In other words, if we go too dark, you'll see it come forward. Because it's only through doing these things that you learn. And as you do, I know by now, when I say learn, one of the things I really would love you to do, and I'm not being horrible in this, I just want you to make mistakes. Mess it up. Because you learn so much more when you get it wrong. But if you're doing these exercises or you're doing these courses, which the school is really growing now. Last week I put a few extra bits and pieces together. We're about to launch another 2, possibly 3 courses on the school. So, and the name of that, as you know, is the gosh, my brain, the Oil Painting Academy. So I should remember that one really, but it's a memory. But it's beginning to grow into something which I think in maybe a few more weeks, it'll be okay. It'll be beginning to get somewhere with it. It takes a while, but we are getting there. Now, it takes a while with a fractured skull. It's a while longer. Okay, so I'm going to just put a bit of dark in here. See what that looks like. That looks like it's okay. Don't want to go darker than that because I think that would be a bit too dark. That's a technical phrase, by the way, too dark. So we don't do that. Now you notice I'm pointing the brush upwards. It gives me a sharp edge at the top and a blurry edge underneath. Which it would do if I had some more paint underneath, which we'll get there in a second. There we go. You can see this is, it's quite swift. It's not going to take too long to do this. Now it won't always be easy seascapes. We've got a number of courses which I want to edit and put on the school, which are, some of them are famous paintings done by artists of the later Renaissance, like David James, brilliant artist, late 1800s, early 1900s, pre-camera. His seascapes are amazing. We're going to be featuring some of those as courses. Here we go. So that's coming in. You see, that's really made that come forward. I'm going to go to the light brush, and I'm going to go quite light here. I don't know if that's too light. Let's have a quick look. Okay, it's maybe okay. Maybe it was just a tad too light, but I'm not worried about that because I can easily take it down. Now this would be the translucent water of the breaking wave. In other words, pretty much the sky colour as seen through the top end of that breaking wave. Some of it will be quite transparent or translucent. Other parts of the wave won't be like that. So let's put a bit of light in. And this is the beauty of oil. I can go back into the dark with only a little bit of paint on the brush, and I can just join that up. Just on the edge. And then the 305, which is a soft synthetic. It's a bit like a sable, imitation sable. This is the number 8 from Rosemary & Co. 305 is the series. And I'm just going to lose the edge, connecting those two colours up. You notice I've not put any extreme highlights in yet. In other words, the foamy bits of the wave, because I'll put those in a minute. Yeah, so we've got a slight light at the top and it goes darker as the wave comes up. Let's just grab a little bit more highlight onto that. Turning the brush over to fresh paint. Unlike watercolour, when you're painting a watercolour, the water pigment or watercolour itself is actually held within the brush, whereas with oil paint it's kind of held to the side of the brush. It clings to the side. It's not actually in the brush itself. Well, it depends on how much paint you stick on the brush, but I don't normally paint with a large amount of paint on a brush. I like the control that oil gives me. That's pretty much it. Yep. Now, so let's look at this. We've got transparent water or translucent water across the top here, just underneath that highlight. Then we got the dark rising water, and then here, this is flat. So guess what colour that's going to be? Light. Let's put this in. Now I'm going to put a little bit of Venetian turpentine, which is, you can see it on the palette. It's a bit like honey. It's sticky like honey. And it also makes the paint a little bit more runny. We'll call it runny because it rhymes with honey. But it's just makes it a little bit easier to apply. Venetian turps fundamentally is sticky. Like all good seascapes. You don't want the sea running off to one side and pouring out the side of the canvas. So I'm trying to paint this horizontal as opposed to diagonal. Oh dear, I'm going to look back in future months at these videos which I'm making here and go, I'm just going to smile. It's like talking without a brain. Yep. This is what it's like. Let's push this across. Just want to check the mic's working. I just wanted to check the microphone for a minute though. A couple of weeks back I tried to do a recording and forgot to check the microphone, so the microphone didn't work. Not a good sign. I wasn't very pleased. Okay, so we're getting there. Now, let's put this brush down, and I want to go, I'm going to go next one up. I'm going to pick another brush. Here we go. This is a number 2 from Rosemary & Co. Is it a number 2 or is it number 0? It's number 0. It's a 0. And again, it's a flat chisel, extra long. And I'm going to go with this highlight. Again, a little bit of Venetian turpentine. Now, Venetian turpentine is not like ordinary turpentine. It's turpentine is a solvent. And Venetian turpentine depends what make you're going to choose to go with, but it's a little bit oilier than a solvent. So different rules apply. Now, I'm going to come in around here. And I'm going to just pop some of these highlights in. Now, this is titanium white with Naples yellow light added onto it. On the palette here we have titanium white. So there's titanium white, that's Naples yellow and titanium white mix. So quite a bit of Naples yellow into that, which makes it a warm white. There we go, look at that. Just crushing over. And again, like I said, you don't need to go to detail. Not going to be putting any swimmers in the sea. That's it. Now, probably what I should be doing is wearing my glasses to do this finer, smaller work. But I think it's a side effect of falling on my head. It just causes me a bit of discomfort. So I'm gonna see how this works, and maybe tomorrow morning I might just put the glasses on and do 10 minutes tweaking. So forgive me if that's it does change a little bit. Putting this in. At least I can focus now. Just checking, good. So sometimes putting these little highlights in takes longer than putting the whole sky in. But we need to, people are going to notice these. They're not going to notice the sky because generally speaking, your viewer will be looking at, no, I don't want to say detail, but yeah, it's detail. I love detail. And I don't. I like the painting gives without the detail. It's like the atmosphere, the passion in the painting. That's what I like the most. I focus on detail, I think I get twitchy. It's just... So years ago, I used to get around my head around this. I used to paint with big brushes. You can't do detail with a brush, and it looks actually like this. It's, look at the difference in the size of those two. So you can't paint detail with a brush that size, and that's the way I used to love to paint. When you're teaching, I have to be mindful of teaching method. And part of the method I'm teaching is how to get, let's call it a different name, complications. There we go. I need you to understand how to complicate your paintings so that it looks complicated. Just popping a few bits and pieces in here and then down into here. Now this is a rolling wave. It's like, that's like you get a wave which goes whoosh. Oh, I'll do that again, you know, like whoosh, as it comes rushing up the sand. Well, that's what this is. So it's not, it's like a wave which is crashed and it's foam. That's all it is. And bear in mind, this isn't the lightest light, it's not the highest highlight. It's we're going to have, as you can see already down here from previous week, we've got a shadow. And that's going to give it a sense of three-dimensional effect. I'm just going to put this highlighter as I go across, and then we can complicate the highlight a little bit. Oh, what's that word again? Complicate. Just means detail, but I just don't like the word detail. I find students in particular get hung up on detail. Just put a big shape in. Okay, now you've got a big shape in. Or complicate the big shape into smaller shapes. There you go. If I said get a big shape in, then add detail, where do you go with that? What's detail, precious? So it's really important that we understand what we mean, or what I mean, when it comes to teaching. Otherwise you guys are going to go into a state of confusion, which is where I've been the last 3 weeks. Right, let's have a look at C. Yeah, that's coming together. Okay, right. We'll leave that there. I just want to, I'm going to use this brush, actually. And add a little bit more, trying not to miss the jar. Right. Now, I just want to put a few horizontal hints in here. Hints as in like foam patterns, but we're not going to really see a great deal of foam pattern in there. We're just going to have some flat lines. I can put this in and then there we go, I'll just take that across. Now I'm going to get the 305 again. No, I'm not going to get this one. What brush is this? This is a 214. Here we go. Again, it's a softened synthetic, so it's a like a squirrel brush, but it's not. It's synthetic. No squirrels have been harmed in the making of this brush. I like that. I like squirrels in bushes, not brushes. Just the romantic in me, I suppose. Yeah. Thought of a squirrel and a brush. Who does that to a poor wee squirrel? I was going to say wee artists too, but not me. Softening that edge a little bit. So we've got light, dark, light again at the bottom, and that'll give us our wave shape or form. It's okay, it's good to go. Right. Next, I'm going to put these highlights in and then I'm going to come back and complicate them a little bit. Not much, just a wee bit. do contact me. You can message me direct on the community. From the art school community, or the actual school itself, you can just send me a message. If there's anything you particularly want to see or you need to know, it's what I'm here for. And you ask and I do. So more than happy to do whatever you wish. And that includes doing, if needed, a dedicated Tuesday evening stream just on whatever it is that you guys want. You're in charge here. I'll do whatever you wish. I think there's quite a few still life studies on the platform currently, so I've got to put up a few landscapes, seascapes, skies and stuff in to balance that out, which I will be doing as the months turn into more months. Good. Okay, now that's that in place. I'm now going to go to the dark, and quite literally I'm just going to pop a bit of dark here and there just to break this up. Now, if this was a bigger painting, we'd see some definite shapes of foam, but it's not a big painting. It's a small wee painting. It's tiny. Look, there's my hand. So it's really quite small. And if it was a bigger painting, then we'd see these foam shapes appear. So we don't need that. We just need the hint, the hint of a shape of foam. Now, here's where we're going to go. That's a little bit technical. I'm happy with that. More than happy with that. Now I'm going to flatten the brush off. So look, one side, then the other, one side and then the other, and I'm left with quite a sharp brush. And I'm going to come underneath the highlight. With a shadow. And again. And I'll come back and do that in a second. I'll tweak that a little bit. Just going to come another shadow underneath here. And we'll just complicate this up. Here we go. Now in a few minutes I'm going to take some darks and I'm going to break this foam up a little bit, because the foam you see coming up a sandy area like this is going to be quite dirty. It's not going to be what I call a happy foam. So here we go. Just pick a brush, that one. Coming in with maybe something like this. Let's see what this looks like. Again. It's slightly darker than that. Don't want to go too dark. And I don't want to go too heavy. That's the spirit. So it's the top edge of the foam. I just want to mess up a little bit. You'll hear me say this, these words, mess it up. Going to the forest, it's not a tidy forest. It's messy all over the place. There's fallen trees, leaves all over the place. It's really messy. And, you know, the squirrels don't exactly help. So don't make your forest or your seascape or your clouds, your sky, don't make it tidy. It won't look good. Make it messy. Looks much better. Okay, I think it's kind of it. Just seeing where we are. Like I said, I'm so near the canvas, I'm literally a foot away from it. Quite snug, whereas I would like to be further away, which is why I'm looking into the camera. That's better. Yes, happier. Checking. Okay, now we have some wet, sandy bits. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, but look, that's about it really. Doesn't need to be much lighter than that. This is wet sand, but it's so wet, it reflecting the sky. Shadow line underneath that highlight. There you go. Begins to look a bit like Christmas. Now it's very easy to put something in which is a bit like a picket line fence. You know, sort of dot, 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 dot all the way through. Don't do that. But this goes that way, this comes this way. We want one around about here. Untidily, but kind of going in that direction. Think of these as they lead you into the painting. I'm going to go a bit extreme here. I didn't want to put that over there because it just would look a bit wrong. Thinning that shadow line out. Okay. And like I said, if, you know, tomorrow morning when my eyes are rested, if I see something, I kind of go, yeah, that needs a bit of a tweak, I'll do it. And I'll add it. It won't be much. Didn't normally. Usually I don't have to do that at all because my eyes are actually okay, but I think the bang to the back of the head was yeah, not quite nice, put it that way. Right, can I just tickle this over there a little bit? That's better. Right, just click on some of the dark, where's the dark brush gone? There it is. Not too dark, but nonetheless a wee bit dark. And soft brush 305, here we go. And all I want to do here is just take away any harsh edge. Then I see, keep the shapes. I just don't want a line. I don't want a hard line in there anyway. So just soften that. Yeah, you can see it just looks like there's some water draining away. That's all we're looking for. And I'm going to go the titanium white. Oh, shudder. Gosh. Oh, it's very tempting to go dong, 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 dong all the way across. Do not do that. That's not what we want to do. This is just a little sparkle. That's all it is. Here and there. Nothing more. And the littler, it's not a word, is it? The smaller, the better. Littler. Well, it should be a word. If it isn't a word, it should be. My wife always thinks I talk Martinese. I think she's right. Certainly after a bang on the head, gosh, I think we've got an excuse to talk a bit of Martinese. Okay, so kind of it's the extreme highlights. Now I'm going to put a few tickles in here. See if I can just load up the brush. Don't want to load too much. But these really will shine out. That's the idea. We are almost done. And like I said, these seascapes are going to get more complicated. I always will be doing an occasional easy peasy one, because if you're doing a show, these small canvases, you know, if you're doing a show and you've got like a 4 foot wide painting in there, it's going to sell for what, I don't know, a couple of thousand, let's say. This isn't. These will sell for maybe 250, 350 pounds ish, but people buy into them because they might not be able to maybe want to stretch to a 2,000, 3,000 pound painting, but if they want a piece of you, they can get it in the form of a small canvas. So don't lose sight of that. These are quite important. And people buy these maybe 1 or 2 at a time. I put them in a small cluster. And if you haven't done an exhibition yet, you will do. Trust me. You should do. Because what I'm teaching you here is true guidance. There's no reason why your paintings can't shine if you follow these guidelines. Just a small amount back here. Nothing more. Okay. So let's put a pebble in. Where should we put it? Here? Here we go. A few pebbles. Rocks, maybe. And maybe here. Okay, there you go. Couple of rocks. So that's the highlight, but we don't leave it like that. Now we go to the dark, because we want to put a shadow in. So think about where the sun's coming from. I don't think it's going to worry too much. I'll do the highlight in front, so the shadow will be behind. In other words, facing us. I just realised I've gone to detail, but it's in the nicest possiblest way. Okay, yep, and the other one, just the edge of the brush. Okay, I'll see how that looks with my glasses on tomorrow morning. It's just a highlight shape and a shadow shape. That's all it is. And if there was a sun here, then obviously the shadows would be in the direction of the sun light. So if the sun was there, the shadows would be pointing this way, and if the sun was there, it'd be pointing this way. So that's the only thing to remember really on that one. Just gonna correct that. Now I'm looking for things. Now, sort of things I'm looking for. When I'm nearing a finished painting, I try to find three things. I make a list. Normally I've got a glass of, what's that stuff called? Grape juice. So I've got a grape juice, list, pencil, and I'm looking at the painting. I'm going to make a list of three things that I feel I can improve or change, do something with. I get a list of three things. I then ask myself a question, is it worth it? Is it going to make a difference? Because if it's not going to make any difference, it's just me being a bit, tweaky. Oh, you got a decision to make, and just leave it. Let's say I agree with two of the things on the list, but I'm struggling with the third. I don't really think it's worth it. Do the two things. Sit down, clearly recharge your glass. Just kidding. And you try and make a list of those three things. If you can't make a list of three things, then it's finished. It's done. Unless, of course, the one thing which is on the list, you've got to go, oh, no, I must do that. Then do it. But other than that, no point. It's, you covered all the bases. So I think with I kind of really just want to do one last little thing. I kind of feel I took all of the highlights away, so I'm going to put one back. There we go. They shine. That one shines so much it's blinding. Okay, I think we're there. So we've got our sky, which is misty. The horizon's misty. You don't need to see a horizon. It needs to be there. Yeah, somewhere. The little waves, which they're just shapes of light and slightly darker than light. That's it. And then we've got this wave coming in, which are they're the main actors of this entire play, which we call a painting. So these are the two main actors. This is a supporting actor, like these are supporting actors. The sky is it's just a crowd, and back here is just nothing. It's the crowd. So the only parts of this painting really which need to be really crisp and clean are the beach. These, two or three leading waves. That's it. Nothing else. everything is ghosted. And that's going to, when it's done nicely, which I think we're pretty much there, it gives you a sense of depth to the painting, which really money just can't buy. So I'm going to call it that. I think we're there. Now, next Tuesday, we're going to start a new painting. If you have a particular request, give me a message, please, and I'll do that. Other than that, I think maybe I feel a sort of foresty thing coming up. We've got a seascape. Let's switch to a forest. And then maybe we'll alternate and do some other bits and pieces. So look, I hope you've enjoyed that. I do apologise about my inability to reach for words. It'll get in, well, hopefully it'll get better. Of course it will. I'm not kidding. So as the weeks progress, you should see a clear me eventually emerging. If you're around on Thursday evening, do sign in. 5:30 on Thursday evening, we've got Cool Cats Coffee Club where we can just sit and talk and just discuss anything arty that you want to discuss. And then next Tuesday, another live stream where we'll start a new painting. Guys, thank you. Thank you ever so much. And I really do mean this, because when I pranged my head, it was challenging. And you've all been so kind. So thank you for allowing me the space to recover. And as soon as I'm back in full, we'll be steaming ahead. So have a lovely week. And if you're around Thursday, I'll see you Thursday. If not, I'll see you next week. All the very best. Bye for now.